What's up? What's up? What's up? There's the real talk. Your girl Amber here. I'm so excited that you guys have decided to spend a little bit of time with us here on Marriage and Real Talk. Today, we are going to be doing a candid, fun, random, non scripted team table talk. So that just means you're going to get to see face to face some of the people you're commonly talking to in our group and getting more acquainted. We're going to ask different questions regarding different parts of relationships and the journey. And also, if possible, if time allows, highlight some of the posts that you may have engaged with within the group just because we want to, okay? And so it's the end of the year. What better time to recap, celebrate, relate, have fellowship, then get together with the fam, okay? I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge each of these individuals, and we do have a few others that might join us. And we're just going to have a good time. So let's do this. Let me see. Can y'all see everybody? Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to introduce each of these members, and then we're going to jump right into the questions because we have so many of them. Per usual, if you've been a part of Real Talk, per usual, there's so many of them that we won't get through all of them, but we're going to try our best to get through as many as possible, which means, team members, let's keep these responses short and sweet. Let's try to remember that, okay? All right. So without any further ado, I want to introduce everybody to Jimmy. I call him the Real Talk bouncer. He's very social in our group. He is a bouncer for good reasons. So if y'all in this group doing something you know you don't got no business doing, he's like Uncle Jimmy. He gonna let somebody know, okay? You might get told a little something. Thank you, Jimmy, for being here today. We appreciate you, bro. Next we have Kamisha Bond, the sassy sister. She's actually one of my cousins, and she is an amazing contributor to Marriage and Real Talk. We love, love, love her being here and being supportive. She's one of our single ladies, okay, in the group, and she's always bringing that shine, not only for the singles, but for the singles. We have the lovely Miss Stacy Kitchen with us. She is one of our prayer warriors, along with Shelby. These ladies are the real deal. They have not only the experience of marriage and relationship and family, but they also have the spiritual know-how and know the importance of having that within a relationship and a family. So thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Shelby, for being here. They're the backbone. We be praying on the sidelines for a lot of things. And it's very important, just shameless plug for anyone who's starting anything now or in the new year, to make sure you got some prayer partners. You're going to need that, okay? Next, we got Tiffany, the one and the only Miss Campbell. We thank you so much for being a part of Real Talk. Her, along with Kamisha and Jimmy, have been working this year on different things for our single community. I have my lovely mother who has the word thrive. We're going to change her name, but she is thriving all through her life because she's my biggest cheerleader, okay? She helped me to thrive, so keep that. She's thrived today. That's my mommy, Jackie. And then I got, last but not least, my sister friend, girlfriend, Tia the Ramey. Y'all see her all in here. Her and Jimmy are the most social of the group, okay? And we appreciate that. I won't give you me and Tia's history, but we literally have worked at Bob Evans together. We worked at the credit bureau together. We went to college together. Our history, y'all, is thick, okay? But we thank you all for being here and for just contributing to Real Talk. It would not be what it is without each of you individually as well as collectively. So now we got the intros out, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into our conversations. Again, this is a table talk, so the conversations will be super random. And honestly, I guess I could have, do you guys want to ask your own questions or you want me to ask them? What's best for y'all? I don't care. Me to ask. Okay, I'll just ask them. I got the list right here. So we're going to just jump through them. I'm going to go to why is there such a desire to get married these days? Is it a cultural thing, mental, emotional? I want singles, married. I want all of us, whoever wants to. And again, everyone won't be able to answer every question. But if you want to, please go ahead and unmute yourself and answer this question, which is, why is there such a desire for some people, not everyone, to get married? What is that hype? Why do you think that is? I'm gonna pick on the singles. Go on, Jimmy. What is it? Go ahead.
But um, listen, I knew you was coming my way. That's funny.
Mhm.
Oh man, I don't believe it's cultural, honestly. Um, for me, just as a male, you know what I mean. Family is still important. And it's one of the things, I guess, based on a worldview that has, socially or culturally, most people have gotten away from. And we need to keep that going, honestly. You know what I mean? The word says be fruitful and multiply. We need to do that married. We have enough, you know, little boys and little girls without, mommy and daddy in the home, or even seeing the image of, marriage and what that looks like. Right now, it looks as if they can have that or have children and have, a man or woman without the actual marriage. You know what I mean? People are doing it right now without, they're like, oh, it's just a piece of paper. We don't need that. You know what I mean? What is it
Mm,
changing? Why do I need to be committed? So this whole new age thing is crazy. For me, I prefer to do it that way.
good deal. Anybody else want to chime in on that? What's the hype behind getting married? Is it important? Like, why is it a desire? Is it a desire?
I technically think it's a visual desire. I don't think most singles know what they're in for um, just by initial glance. I think it's more like they love the wedding and not the actual
Talk about it.
covenant. And I'm going to go ahead and tell myself a little bit. I was kind of in that realm coming out of my 20s. I was just like, yeah, with the white dress and all that. And then when I would look around at marriages and we started to develop this group, it was kind of more in depth and I felt myself getting scared about it, like almost a little bit nervous to be in this covenant that I thought I desired. So I just think it's a visual desire that one has to get over the initial glance at what wedding is. I think they need to look a little bit deeper in
Mm,
every individual case.
good deal. Good deal. Okay. Anybody else, real quick? Go ahead, Stacey.
I was thinking about your question, and I wonder if people are opting to not get married more um, because they feel like they can have what they envision as the commitment without the marriage and without the strings attached. So
Mm,
that's not an answer, but it is kind of an observation, I think. And and I agree. I think that we we don't really know what we're getting into a lot of times. We just don't. And
mhm,
it's nothing um like you would imagine when you first
mhm,
start out. So
mhm.
me and my husband been married 24 years. And I tell you, it has had its peaks and valleys and everything in between. And you really have to have a strong constitution and a strong commitment to the covenant in order to be sustained and absolutely unique God. Like because otherwise,
Yes, that
everybody will
part.
just do their own thing. I mean, and that's just the truth. So I just tossed that observation that I believe that there are that people that really do want to get married, and they may not they may want it for one reason, but it may not be the reason to get married. And then the other part of that is some people may not even be looking at marriage because they feel like they can have the commitment with people without it.
Yep, yep. Good man. Wow. So a couple of y'all said some of the same things, but I'm just gonna jump on what you were saying in regards to not knowing what you really want. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of what we say we desire, not just marriage, but I want a car, I want this dog, or I want a baby. we want the thing, but we don't want the stuff that goes with the thing. And that's what's not highlighted, which is why it is important to have real talks and understand more, because you don't even know what you want. You want marriage, but you really, some days you really don't want marriage. And I can just stop right there on that point, because I think we all can understand both sides of that. So thank you for sharing that. Why do you think single people prefer to be single? Outside of what you just shared in regards to, I can have the commitment without the commitment. Are there any other thoughts in the room or on the table in regards to why you think single people prefer to stay single?
Yeah, I heard a quote this week that I thought was so powerful. Someone said that, in your life, you may experience 3 deaths. One is when you decide to accept Jesus Christ into your life. That's one death. The next death is getting married. And then the next death is having children. And it is so true. You are not the same person coming out of that. And I think that if you are single, that there's a freedom that you have. And of course, taking on more responsibility means more accountability, and you have less and less freedom. You just look at some of the basic things. If you're saying, okay, well, I want to now teach Sunday school at church. Well, now you have to be at church on a weekly basis. You have to be held accountable. You have people who are counting on you, people who are depending on you. It's not about you anymore. And so some people do not want to have to live a lifestyle of that level of responsibility that they cannot clock out of, all the time, where they have to change who they are just to exist in a world with these other people. It makes sense to me. Like they might want to stay single with all the sacrifices you make just to, be there for your family in a single day.
That's good.
Good
Never
point.
heard it that way. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Good point. She said clock out. Marriage, you cannot clock out. It's not an 8-hour job.
Woo! Say
You
that
know,
again.
you take it's not an 8-hour job. It's not 10 hours. You can't work it part-time. You can't split the shift. You know what I mean? So coming from somebody where I was married for 8.5 years before, married when I was 24, 8.5 years, 8.5 years of married. Last 3 years going through domestic violence, and then being single, those thoughts always come back. Like, do I really want to deal with the fact that I could potentially get with someone and they start out good, and then later on, you know, years pass, we start to grow or I grow and they decide to stop and become stagnant. And then now all these issues, start to arise. Do you really want to go through that situation again, honestly? And at the time, I mean, we can say our picker is off, but a lot of times we think that picker is gold until something happens. You know what I mean? Until we're
Woo!
going around the same circle. So listen,
That's
it's
good.
I believe that it's always a risk. I know a lot of people say God is going to send me my mate. Listen, God ain't choosing no mates. I don't know where they got that from in the Bible, but He gave you free will to choose who you want to be with, and He gave us discernment. We have the Holy Spirit. You have all these other tools that we just don't apply. And I think a lot of us skip a lot of steps. That's the biggest issue. I think we get so caught up in the puppy love stage and the
Mhm.
infatuation stage that we think, this is it. I'm in love. This is real love. I'm gonna go ahead and get married. Okay, until they get sick, until they lose that job, until
Come
that real
on.
personality comes out, until you hit that first hiccup. You know what I mean? Until there's family issues, or if you're a blended family, you know what I mean? When you're two different disciplinaries, that's a real thing. You cannot just get up and walk out. So
Mm.
to really vet and find out if somebody's gonna stick and stay, that's a that's a real thing. I think people would date a lot longer at that point. We would wait it out.
Yeah. And you bring up a really good point, because you can't just walk out when you're not married. You know what I mean? When that level of commitment, because I'm not saying that people who are not married can't have close commitment or real commitment, but it's just totally different when you cross that line and you create a covenant, what we believe to be a covenant. It's totally different, and that step in and step out is no longer if you're really serious. And so you hit a good point, even talking about sickness and not having a job and issues that come up. No one really highlights those in the dating phase. You said a key word also, infatuation. That little, they make me feel good. That's dating phase. And that phase, depending on your personality, your childhood issues, your money issues, and everything else, after marriage or starting the marriage journey, that can quickly shift. And then we ain't infatuated no more. We on a whole ballpark. So I'm gonna pause
Mhm.
on that. I want to jump over here. Oh, go ahead, Shelby.
I just in our chat here, Stacy said what I was thinking, is that covenant goes beyond commitment. And so
Come
even
on.
if you don't understand covenant as a single person, it's going to be very hard for you to understand covenant as a married individual in a relationship. So covenant, it
Mm.
goes beyond. We have to go beyond just being committed. There's a cutting, there is a sacrifice that is made when you talk about being in covenant. And as a single person, if you don't understand it being single, you're definitely not going to understand it coming into a relationship with another individual. So that's what I wanted to add in.
Dive into that a little bit. I feel like there's a little bit more lingering. Don't be cutting it off. Somebody need that. Come on. He gonna say
Come
never,
on,
but
Tim.
no, come on. We about to go ahead and highlight you now. Okay. Now go ahead and bring the word. Okay. We ain't playing with you.
Well, no. When you understand that you are two individuals that are coming together, when you take a look at how you live your life as a single person, if you don't understand covenant, being single is very hard for you. It makes it real easy, easier for you to be the one that will up and leave, and because there isn't anything that really has where that agreement in that deep level agreement has been
Mm,
made. And so without understanding covenants, I believe that if singles start to understand covenant with themselves, covenant with God, it is going to lessen the opportunity to want to just up and leave when times get hard or when times get rough. So
mm. So good. So good. Ooh, I wish I could just go right down that path, but we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. Thank you for that answer. Let's jump over to, so this is a question throughout from one of our single ladies. And it says, what's one thing you wish you would have done to maximize your singleness? To maximize your singleness. Let me think on that. What's something you would have done to maximize your singleness? So thinking back. There's so many things. Anybody want to go first?
I
See,
can
I
say
know you
one
got a
real
word.
No, I was going to say it would just be knowing having my identity solid in God first. Like that would be the thing that I would say. Because when you know who you are, then when you get into marriage, you don't you have a better ability to weather those storms when you're connected with someone else, because
Mm-hmm.
marriage will reveal who you are. Like totally, it reveals who you are, and everything isn't all peaches and cream. And it's not a condemning thing, but by design. Because when you become one with something, you're bringing two people together. And so if there's holy matrimony there, you're going to have hiccups and bumps and bruises till you get in order. So that's what I would say.
I'm over here thinking about the
Amber, that
marriage. Marriage will reveal who you are.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. That was listen, that all in itself was a word, Stacy. Marriage literally will reveal who you are. So I believe if there's no individuality, be completely single. Single at heart, single at mind, single in your soul. Don't bring your past relationships or past dating experiences, your traumas, all that stuff has to be dealt with. You know what I mean? And we will use the relationship, we will use the dating phase, you know what I mean, to as a cover up. So it's like, well, let me
Mm.
just hurry up and get married, then I don't have to see myself or deal with myself. Well, the real you is gonna come out as soon as that marriage is over and the honeymoon phase is done, like all that's still there. Most people get into, relationships and dating and doing all that, and they are not single at heart. They're not. You still got Johnny, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike in your soul, and you want another Johnny, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike to come and replace or undo, what you tied yourself into, in your past, and it's not fair to the other person. That saying will hurt people. That's legit. So my thing
Can I?
is, hmm
I wanted to throw out something. You just said soul. You said all them people in your soul. What about soul ties?
it's legit.
Anything? Anybody want to say anything in regards to how important that is in the relationship journey? I know it's not on the. It just came to me when you said the series of people. For singles and those who are married. For those who are single, before you date and get committed, it's your responsibility to check on somebody else's soul ties and also check yours and get that cleared up. Because on the married side, and many of us know what the journey can be like, that stuff don't go away, is what you're basically saying. Whatever you're dealing with, it doesn't go away by just, it's not a slap a band-aid on it. That person's over, that's over. I'm going to just move on. Like, it's baggage that you really got to start uncovering, which is why Stacey's whole line of marriage will reveal who you are, not just who you are, but who you with.
Connected to.
And that connection, it goes back and forth. So anybody want to say anything about that in regards to soul ties and relationships just in general? That came to mind when you were talking.
There are good soul ties and there are bad soul ties. So in talking about the bad soul ties, meaning the ones that where, whether you have been either emotionally or physically connected to a person on that particular level, it becomes very important for you to deal with that prior to marriage. This is one of the things that I advocate, especially in premarital counseling. Premarital counseling, you need to go through deliverance to break those soul ties, to reveal those soul ties, because you had Johnny on your mind. And the first thing you'll make you upset, the first thing, well, Johnny didn't do it like this, and Johnny didn't do it like that, Susie didn't do it like this, and you've got this whole ball of just confusion. And so you have to deal with those, and those ties have to be broken. They are tied to sometimes even unmet or just expectations that we have on our spouses based off of our experiences with someone else. You have to deal with that. You have to deal with that.
Woo! When you said that, I just thought of relationships really are work.
They are work.
But
Yes,
it's beyond, and I can't speak for everybody, but when you getting into a relationship or you want a relationship, it's a desire. You don't think of that. You just think of all the good and all the feels but the reality is, like what you're saying, you gotta do some work, deliverance, sometimes repentance, sometimes breaking off, connections with past histories and people and things. Like the hard stuff is the real building and growing relationships. Thank you for sharing that. Did anybody else want to say anything on that? No. Okay. What's a myth you've heard about being married that makes you more cautious concerning marriage? This is for the singles. What's a myth? So this Kamisha, Tiff, Jimmy, and I guess we could speak to it too, but is there any myths you've heard regarding marriage that makes you cautious?
I think the biggest one that I hear, that I see, is how romance dies in the relationship. And that one scares me. I mean, honestly, not to say that, it's always going to be good and all that. I know everyone says that, but I think it's the part when you're not in love with your partner any longer for a long period of time, stretches of time, having, witnessed marriage up close and
Mm-hmm.
seeing all of that, it's like, dang, like I don't I would not want to get married and then eventually get tired of you. Like for a very, like I don't know. I don't know. I don't like that. Like y'all help me understand and unpack that, because I know it goes, but it's like, man, I don't want to be. I know when people like have those couples that are sitting in a restaurant and not talking to each other and looking at each other, and they're like, oh, that's marriage. Like I don't want that. That. I could go eat by myself. I don't need to eat with you. So yeah, I don't know. I'm concerned, y'all. I'm concerned. I'd rather stay single if that's the case.
Ooh, oh,
I
I
gotta.
got
I
some
think
thoughts, but go
I'm with
ahead,
Tiffany
Jimmy.
on that
Drop
one.
a few, but
I,
Jimmy might got a book on it. Jimmy,
listen,
just give us a few nuggets, okay? We don't got
no,
that
I'm with Tiffany on that, man. I guess my saying would be familiarity breeds contempt. And so my issue is becoming that comfortable with another person. So I want to be
much.
in a situation where we continue to grow. You know what I mean? Like that courting shouldn't stop. Part of courting is continuing to grow. So continuing to learn new things, having new experiences separately and collectively. I believe part of the answer for that is, you know, each other having their own space. Like you need to do your own thing at some point, you know what I
Yes.
mean? And I do my own thing so we can have something new to talk about. Because I think at that point then boredom will settle in. You will be like, listen, I see the same person every day. Your teachability index went down instead of going up. That's a real problem.
So good. So, so, so good. I want to say something on it, but I know somebody else probably do too. Anybody else? Kamisha, you got any thoughts on any myths you've heard? Or not really?
Definitely that one. The other one is like all married men cheat or something like along those lines of everybody's going to cheat. So it's like, so that's your opinion on marriage, or just she's like, no, just everyone cheats. Like, so this everyone
Wow.
cheats myth that I've been hearing could scare me, but not for a long period of time. I think that is a individual decision. It doesn't frighten me to the point of not getting married. It's just one of those frightful myths that's out there for singles. So I'll leave it there.
Mm, wow. I was going to just jump in and say what Jimmy said in regards to, I think the biggest difference for dating and then getting married and staying married, especially, I feel like there's a rule. I'm not that versed on it, but they say like 7 years. Everybody goes through this thing between the 5 to 7 years where, as you get in your routine, things can get mundane. And really, to me, I don't think singles should be afraid of it, but I think you should be alert. Would y'all married people agree? Like, just be alert that one, you got to put something in and get something out. I guess that's what I'm just saying. You can't expect to have this thriving, fun, exciting relationship for 20, 30 years and you want to be dry. You want to do what you did in high school. You want to not, reinvent and keep it fun and keep it fresh. I don't think it's something to be afraid of, but be aware that you're going to have to put some work in. That's all I was going to say. Anybody else want to say anything on that real quick? Go ahead, Stacey.
I just wanted to address the myth thing as far as love is concerned, because that's what I believe is a myth, that it's like love is a feeling, and love is not
Mm-hmm.
simply a feeling or an emotion. Love is an action. It is a decision to regard someone else sometimes above yourself, and being in love or falling in love and those types of things. What does that even mean? Those things, I believe, are a different type of love. There's eros love, and there's agape love, and there's phileo love. There's these different types of love, but we have to know what type of love is able to withstand the storms of marriage. And so that to me is the myth that we fall into, is that love is like something you fall into. Like I
Yeah.
fall in love with somebody. Like I tripped and oops, now I'm connected to this person. And like it
No.
does not work like that. And so what tends to happen is I believe it's really those soul ties because for some of us who created those soul ties before marriage, you began to have your soul connected to that person before, and so that becomes the basis of the idea that you love them. You know, because your emotions are wrapped up in them. They look good to you. They may feel good to you. They say the right things, and it's not necessarily that that it's bad, but
Mhm.
it can't it can't withstand the tests and the trials of marriage. Just
Mm.
someone looking good, someone dressing good,
Come
someone
on.
having
Yeah.
money, somebody having a position, or any of those things that we look at on the outside. We really have to understand what love means and what the decision to love is, and it is a
Mm.
decision. I mean, there's some emotions that go along with it. There's joy, there's
Mhm.
some sense of connection and belonging, and those things are legitimate feelings and emotions that we have. And I think we should engage our emotions when we love someone. But sometimes you don't feel love, but you can still act love. You can
Come
still
on.
decide to love.
Mhm.
And that's what marriage is about. It's about a decision. Like when I don't feel like it, when you don't look good, when you may not be being that person I like right now. Will I
Yeah.
still love you? Meaning
Yeah.
I'm still going to regard you um, above what I feel at the moment, or, my own personal desires, aside from, to my detriment,
Yeah.
And even we have to look at that, what does that look like? It's not abuse, it's not physical abuse, it's not anything like that. It's not, you know, um, just being all out there. And so yeah, that the love thing I think is the myth that we need to deal with. That
Mm.
I bought into. I had to learn that later and grow into what it really means to love. And out of that,
Woo.
oh, he looked good, or oh, he's so nice, and
I would love to
All the
piggyback on that.
shallow stuff. Yeah. Go ahead, T.
Yeah, I think that appreciation is so huge when it comes to being able to stay in love. And it does evolve from what someone is doing from you personally. How much are they taking you out? Did they buy you gifts? That's fine and that's wonderful. But marriage really is about family. So when it evolves into seeing that this is the only person in your family that you will ever choose, and they
Woo.
chose you back. And every day they're showing up, whether it's the time they spend with kids, someone that is willing to be on the phone and talk to your mom and give her real estate advice, or take your parents to the doctor, or they're really integrating their life with yours. And there are so many small nuances of that deserve to be appreciated every single day, because they don't have to be there. And when you learn how to really see your spouse in every sacrifice they make to choose you all day long, that is, I really believe that that's a great foundation for staying in love, is appreciating each other, and not belittling the small things that you do to make sure that your home and family are working together.
Man, y'all dropping some gems. We could make a book, y'all, off of just what y'all saying.
Hey Amber,
I hope y'all getting that. Go ahead, mommy.
I had a little something I wanted to say. Sorry guys, I got a new phone today, so it's I'm having a little issue over here, but I'm glad to be here. You guys are great. Amber, this team is always amazing. Just hopefully, as we know, we're all here just to try to be a help. But I just wanted to say, I heard Tiffany sound like she's a little nervous about what marriage can become. And I just wanted to say, honey, if God says the same, in May of this year, 2022, we'll be celebrating 42 years of marriage. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to say, after all these years, through the storms and the rain and the everything that marriage brings your way, it's about the commitment of the two people involved. Regardless if everybody around you such as someone told me and Jeff long ago. Everybody I know has not made it in their marriage. Everybody I know is divorced. And what I told her was, regardless if everybody you know doesn't make it, remember, your marriage is going to be what the two of you make it. If you decide to have fun with it, keep it sexy, keep it hot, keep it fun, all of that is about you two. So if everybody's marriage around you is dried up and dead, and they don't even want to come home to each other, remember that does not have to be your story. Your marriage is about the two of you. So remember that when you do get married, I don't care what's happening around you. Remember, your marriage is going to be what you two make it. Your conversation, your communication, your love, your support, everything that all plays into it. And just love on each other. I can say now, after 41, almost 42 years, I love my husband. I'm in love with him. He is special. I think he's all that. I love everything about him. I just love the way he carries himself. I just love his style. He has that swag, and I love that. 60 years old, about to be 61 next week, and I just love him. He's my man. I call him my honey.
Well,
I call
okay
him my honey.
now.
So I'm just proud to represent marriage, and just to let her know, don't be scared of it. When God brings it your way, just believe and trust it will be what God has destined it to be and what the two of you make it.
Mama Jackie, that was beautiful. That makes me hopeful.
Yes.
So thank you.
Stay hopeful, honey. It's worth the wait.
And I'm just going to jump in there. She done gave us a whole sermon. Okay. Thank you, Mama. But really, what I love for y'all singles is y'all get all this time to, one, in this group. And if you are part of this group, you need to plug in for multiple reasons. They be dropping different gems and things you need to even be thinking about before you get married. But y'all have such an advantage because y'all have this resource and people around you that can not only encourage you, but give you the things that some of us didn't even know to think about before we got on the other side of it. And so when she said that, the main thing that came to my mind was choose right. Right? Choose the right person. And in T, talking about this is your family for life. Like, we don't think of that. You think this is my boo thing. He make me feel good. She make me feel good. And we're just thinking about the here and now. But marriage is for family for life. And like T said, it's the one person we get to choose to do this life thing with, which is why I want to piggyback or just pause real quick to encourage some of those who are dating or want to date to, and when I say choose right, pay attention to the red flags, right? And we're going to pause in a moment and talk about what are some of those red flags, but pay attention to the red flags. Whatever is small in the dating season is going to magnify and knock you over in the marriage journey. If it's a small little nuance, okay, but some lying, cheating, manipulating, certain behaviors, certain characteristics of a person's personality that if they choose to change, they can, but if they don't want to, you're going to deal with that in your kids, in your family. It's just a domino effect. So let's pause real quick. Popcorn style, throw out red flags. This is for our singles and those who are engaged, because it's not too late if you need to call it off. Throw out real quick any red flags that you think people should know about who are in the dating season of life.
Dating while broke.
Oh, yeah, broke.
Say it again.
To dating while broke. Don't do that. That's not fair.
Dating while broke. Y'all heard it. What's next? Come on.
No accountability. Nobody
No
in their life that can speak to them, that can get them together. Nobody that they, can go to and that can set them straight.
Yep.
That's good.
Can't apologize.
No self-respect.
Contentious.
Always lying.
no aspirations
Yeah.
ever.
Mhm.
Complaining
And look
constantly.
at, mhm.
Complaining, yep.
And how do they treat their mother? How do they treat their parents?
Exactly.
And how do they treat your parents?
We
Back.
got to remember when somebody shows us who they are, we got to believe what they're actually showing us. We hear it all the time, but we got to pay attention to that. But sometimes we get caught up in what we see or how they look or how they're built. And oh, it'll be better. It'll change, or I can change them. But when people show you who they really are, believe what they're showing you
Well,
because there might be a price to pay later on.
hmm. I'm going to highlight some of these that's over here. Talk bad about their parents. These are from our Facebook watchers. Thank you guys. We see y'all. Talk bad about their parents. They're never wrong. People who are miserable. Okay. No negative Nancy's. You don't need none of those in your life. Okay. No coping skills. I will even throw out they don't know how to manage their anger, manage their self. No discipline. Bad temper. Selfish is on here. Have you seen them in all seasons of life? No respect for the opposite sex. These are so, so good. Now,
So
I do
good.
have to scroll back up to one thing that I missed in this, the myth conversation. And we are at 42 minutes in. So we're doing good, y'all. Um, this is a myth question that I want to throw out here. I'm going to actually show it. Myth I've heard, marrying a virgin won't work. What if sex sucks? You should at least know if it's going to be good before getting married. Now, I know there's two sides to this. For the sake of keeping it family but real, I want to still throw it out there. What are y'all thoughts on this? Should you, tap and play before the day, or that was so
I
whack.
think
But y'all
as
get
a
it.
that you are funny. That was good. I think that's a conversation. That's a real conversation that needs to be had. Real talk. That's a real conversation. You know what I mean? There's a way to have the conversation and keep it to the point where you don't get too triggered to want to, you know what I mean, go there. But you know what I mean? If she's not experienced, that's a real issue. You know what I mean? Or if he's not experienced, you know what I mean? And so, listen, tantric, talking about those things that can, you know what I mean, build that experience or help them kind of open up in that space. You know what I mean? And that's a real conversation. You have to find out where that person is at. Because they
Mhm.
may not, if they've never been sexually active, you don't know how open or closed they're going to be, honestly. So, going to do certain things, that kind of build that intimacy, and you can see where they at or how they're going to be sexually. Again, they have different places like tantric and different yoga things. Then they got the couple exercise thing where it's all sensual. I mean, if they shy up on things like that, you can guarantee the bedroom might be a little, it might be a little fuzzy. So, you know what I mean? Either you're a teacher, if you're not a teacher, or you're not dominant, you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to be mutable enough to help her or him get there. And I think, then you got, where there's opposite sexes too. There's issues that men can have that women don't have. And that's a whole nother story. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So, I know there's counseling for that, but I don't know. If you married it, counseling, might be too late.
No.
I'm just,
Go ahead.
you,
Go ahead.
you said,
Um, so I think my perspective is a little more what was I going to say? I'll put it like this. I really believe that because of the standard that God has set out for us, I believe that both people um, should be chaste before marriage. If not virgins, then celibate or chaste. I just believe that, because what I think about is the converse, which is what we talked about earlier. You got experience, but you bringing all your experience into the marriage,
Well. Mhm.
and that ain't not nice. And I say this often. It's like, I know, Like, it may not be fun, dealing with somebody who doesn't have experience, but it ain't fun having a devil running roughshod in your marriage either. So it's like, what we which one would you rather have, because you can teach someone how to be pleasurable. You That's something that can be learned, because guess what, people learn it. But to drive the enemy out of your marriage, look, I'll take the virgin for $200. And that's the one thing that I really wish, that if I could change something, it would be, that I would have saved myself from marriage. But so that's my take.
So good. Okay, so I'm gonna answer this. Hold on. People finally starting to speak out about the negative impact of. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say my piece, because as a visionary of the group, I'm not shying away from this question at all. People are finally starting to speak out about the negative impact pornography has on their marriages. Oh, I wish we could talk about all these different things. Thank you, whoever just responded to that. And so in regards to the, saving yourself and doing all that, I highly encourage it. Now, Jamie makes a good point, and I think men and women have different views on this. Just being in different conversations, men and women have different views. I was one of the people who saved myself for marriage. So my husband was my first and only sexual partner. And it was just something I made up in my mind. Did I have struggles? Yes, but it was just something I made up in my mind, right? And so I feel like, as Stacey is saying, things can be learned. But what I can also say, like somebody also said here, just because you've had experience don't mean you good in the bed. So really, at the end of the day, I think when it comes to marriage, we have to understand, especially for those of us who are believers, and I will just plug this in because I know some people are a part of Real Talk and they're like, is this a religious group? Like, I see scriptures and different things, but no one said anything. Like, this is not a religious group. This is not counseling and therapy, but we do have a faith that we believe. And for me, my opinion is, without God, without the creator who created marriage and relationships, you got to have that. And so we do bring in the reality that we need God's governance. We need God's rules and structures, because he created it. He's got the best blueprint for it. So when we go outside of that and we do whatever we want, we don't get the real deal. So in my opinion, similar to what Stacey's saying, I highly encourage celibacy, saving yourself if you have never had a partner. Does that mean you won't have things to work on? No, but just like getting a job, you go in there expecting to learn. You go in there expecting to evolve in your team. And so sometimes I feel like, and y'all can chime in on this, which might be the last thing we get to talk about today, sex seems to be such a hierarchy in our relationships that you need intimacy for good sex. And I have never had a one-night stand or anything like that, so I can't speak to people who just get off on that and that's their thing. But when you are intimate with somebody and you love them, and like she said, from a covenant standpoint, your heart is knit, sex is an amazing thing, and nothing counteracted to that, or nothing counterfeit can take away that. Now, does that mean you and your partner may not have to get used to each other? No. Either way, even if your experience and their experience, y'all still got to learn how to gel together. So in my opinion, like Stacey is saying, do you want the devil and the pornography and the masturbation and all the crap, right, that the world is going to bring to your marriage bed that's undefiled, supposed to be, or do you want to be able to cultivate something that's not so full of baggage, and you got to uncover his stuff and you all of that? Take your pick. But I'm just saying, when it comes to being a virgin, going into marriage, yes, I had to learn some things. So what? Learning is a part of life. It's a mindset that I think people really need to tap into. Is my mindset is, this is my person. I get to know them. They get to know me. There's intimacy that we're going to grow into. And as different seasons change, even if you both are experienced, you still going to have to change and learn, because nobody's going to want the same thing forever, right? I'll throw it out to y'all real quick. Somebody said sex is communication. It's more important to talk about sexual boundaries and make sure you're on the same page. That's a good point. Anybody want to say anything on that?
Man, I can't. We're gonna have to make another real talk for this one. But I
Just give us a few nuggets
to
of what
your
you're thinking
point,
from the guy's
to
perspective. Go ahead.
yes,
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say to your point, you got to remember women are more emotional than men. And I'm not saying that we can't be emotional and intimacy is not a real thing because it is. But we are not more geared towards the emotional side of it. I believe intimacy is necessary, but because we're wired different, that's where men and women, that's where we need that conversation. You know what I mean? Whether it's with somebody that you can be accountable to, that's a mother or aunt, or somebody to have that conversation with young men that are going to become men that may be virgins now, that may get married and not be a virgin later. Like, we don't understand it, we don't get that information on how to be intimate or what that means, or to have that emotional connection. So men are already wired to just, we need sex, we don't want sex, we need it. And so you
Yeah,
see it in the
yeah.
movies all the time, where a man will go in, he'll have sex with a woman, put the money on the dresser, and walk out the door, and he can care less about how her feelings are. And not to say that all men
Mm,
are like that, but that's something that we struggle with. And the woman's
mhm,
like, dude, I need you to love me, I need intimacy,
mhm,
you want respect and you want to be needed, but you don't value me. You know what I mean? Because we don't have any intimacy. The only thing is what my shoulders look like looking to Jesus.
mhm.
So, like, that's a real problem. You know what I mean? And so we need to stop acting like we're not human, like we don't want sex. Don't nobody want bad sex in a marriage. Like, let's keep it real. So
Go
we
ahead,
can
Jimmy.
definitely, you can teach it, it can be taught, and it should be done the right way. And when you really are in love the right way, agape love, and you love that woman, intimacy is not an issue. Sex will not, that won't be a hard conversation. It won't be an issue. Honestly, and then the pornography thing, I personally, my opinion, don't believe that pornography should be a part of marital, like that shouldn't be a part of, that part is defiled. That's not, to me, it's cheating. If me and my wife watching pornography together or separately, then who's to say that her imagination or my imagination
Come
isn't
on.
thinking of that woman or that man
Mhm.
that was seen?
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst type of cheating there is, when you can't read whether or not that the image in that person's mind is on that woman or that man. That's the worst form of cheating, when it's emotional, when it's a soul thing, because you can't see that. So unless
Mhm.
God shows you, or you pray about it and then it comes up, you'll find out eventually, because he or she'll start to not be turned on. They're turned off now because she want the dude that was in the whatever, doing whatever, or he want the girl.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
don't know how the pornography thing came up, but real talk, pornography shouldn't be a part of marriage, in my opinion.
Ditto. Ditto. I wanted to give you some extra time because you are the only male on the line. My dad couldn't make it today, and we do want some more men to come join us. So if you watching, you might be highlighted soon. But I want to give you one more time, and I know we got to go because the evening is going. But you make a good point. Men and women are totally different. And so for the man, like you said, it's not a want, it's a need. But for the woman, our need is intimacy, feeling, emotion, all of that. Any last thoughts on how to blend those two drastic extremes? You can speak real quick and then I throw it out to the ladies. Go ahead, Jimmy. Two
That's
two
just
seconds.
simple comprehension. If we're talking about marriage, if you're in a dating, situation, and you're with a young lady, have that conversation. You know what I mean? What is intimacy to her? Because it's going to be different for every woman, and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be different. Men we want respect, right? You know what I mean? And if you want her to respect you, then you have to love her. You know what I mean? They get on this whole thing like, oh, like when a man say, "Oh, I'm the man." If you have to say you're the man, you probably not. If you have to talk to her about whether or not she's respecting you or if she needs you, then you're probably slipping. Because if you're
Mm,
already a leader and you're doing what you're supposed to do, we don't have to talk about submission. We don't have to talk
mm,
to her about respect.
that's
You know what I mean?
true.
Need is not in
Mm-hmm.
question. So there
Mm-hmm.
has to be a communication with comprehension about what is it that she needs? What's intimacy to her? You know what I mean? Because for some women, it could be you leaving her alone, to be honest. It could be her quiet time. For another woman, it could be flowers, it could be conversation, it could be, so that is the starting ground. I mean, we honestly, I feel like we're at the bottom of that list. You know what I mean? When it comes
Okay.
to
Okay.
man and woman, she has to be all right. You know what I mean?
Okay.
She has to be okay. And if
That's
she's
some
okay,
good.
then we, you know what I mean, all the other stuff will fall in place. But if
Yes,
she's not
sir.
loved and she doesn't feel like you're a safe space, then you can, it's a wrap.
Mm. Can I
Woo,
say
go ahead.
something to
Go
that,
ahead.
Amber, real quick? I think that we put so much emphasis sometimes on the fact that we are different, and it becomes a place of division versus the differences being a place to complement one another, because we were made different for a reason, but the differences should not be a place. Because I agree, with what you're saying, Jimmy. I believe it's spot on, but I think it's also because we are so we're not seeing our differences um, in the right perspective. And I think if we do that, we can get a little bit further with, like you said, bringing things together.
I
Gotcha.
agree with that 100%. I don't think it's a matter of the extremes that have to pull you apart. And that's why I say that that appreciation piece is so important, because sex is just becoming one. This is the expression of two people working together as one. And now there's a physical expression of that, of us being one body, being united, the physical, the emotional, the intimate, everything in that moment. So if you can appreciate those differences that they bring to the table, then there's no this
Mm.
it's a natural flow of that chemistry, of them coming together, working together as one, being one in the bedroom. I think it's powerful that you're so different. It's wonderful. I think about my husband, and I didn't wash the dishes, he dried them. He swept the floor, and I didn't, put everything, and I'd made the bed. Like, after so long, you get away from having your own processes for things and thinking that they are threatening your extreme side, and you see that they're complementing it, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sex is a physical complement, complement to who they are. So you don't need to be threatened by it. And hopefully over time you stop being threatened, and you stop thinking, well, I'm emotional and you're not. You don't need him to be just as emotional as you are, and vice versa. Appreciate the softer side, appreciate the masculinity, appreciate the femininity. These are wonderful things that God put together. He made it that way. We just have to learn how to be mature about it and see it for what it is.
So good.
Very true.
Ah, so good. Okay, so we wrapping up on a few things. I didn't get to ask this question, which I thought was really good. Um, how do you forgive when nothing has changed? How do you forgive when nothing has changed? Now, for the next probably 5 minutes, and we are going to about to wrap up, y'all. But let's just give simple answers, really short, really short. How do you forgive when nothing has changed in your relationship? So that can be why you're dating, married, what have you.
I would say sometimes you just have to pray and give it time. Everything doesn't change instantly. Sometimes it takes time. I was just speaking to a young lady yesterday about that. Sometimes you have to just be patient with the process.
Mm-hmm. So good. So good.
And forgiveness is for you. So our ability to forgive is not based on whether or not the other person accepts it. So again, based off of what Mama Jackie just said, that will allow you to be patient. That actually grows your long suffering in your relationships, because there's a lot of long suffering that comes along with that. Allowing the
Well,
person to go through that process.
And remember mercy. We get mercy. We have not been perfect. I mean, I know we're sitting here giving all the red flags, but if somebody had to ask, well, what red flag did they see in me? I
yeah.
asked my husband, like, what is the red flag in me? So we do have to have mercy. And even when we're offended and hurt and things aren't changing, I like that word that Shelby said, long suffering. Sometimes we do. And Mama Jackie said it best. Sometimes you just have to be patient and
Mm-mm.
give it a chance.
Yeah.
Y'all know long suffering is a cuss word in 2021. Why y'all using that word? Another quick
Facts.
question. What are some differences for my married ladies with 20 plus years? What are some differences of your marriage from 20 years ago versus today? That's Shelby, Stacy, and Jackie. Popcorn response, please.
Oh. You said what are some differences
Yeah,
from then to now?
what's a quick difference? One quick difference from 20 years ago in your marriage to now. Y'all got all these years. Give us a quick gem.
for me, I say it's easier for me to apologize and say I'm sorry. When I was 19 years old, when I got married, I was this little like, I ain't doing that and all that. But now, honey, it's just so much easier to just keep peace. And if I'm wrong, and I don't mind saying I'm sorry. And out of the two of us, and it's not that often that I have to, but it's more so me that has to say, honey, I'm sorry. And I don't mind it. Whatever it takes to keep life easy and keep peace in my home and in my marriage, bring it on.
Yeah. Good, good. Shelby, Stacy.
I am less selfish than I was before. And so I
Well,
really do look after his needs first.
That's the same thing I was going to say, that I am not as selfish and prideful and self-centered as I was. That is an area that I matured in marriage.
awesome. So on that same note, what advice would you give someone who plans to get married younger than like 20? Like the
Get
young
some
folks.
counseling. Get some counseling for
Get
sure.
some counseling.
For
Everybody's saying the
sure.
same thing.
Yes.
Get
For
your help
sure.
early.
Yes.
Okay? Get your help.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so what we're gonna do right now, and we're gonna wrap up with this. I have a quick screen share I'm gonna do with y'all. We're gonna go through some of the popular posts that I was able to pull up, and we're gonna talk about these real quick, and we're gonna wrap up with a few things that are forthcoming for 2022. So again, I want to say thank you to everyone who's always just a part of Marriage and Real Talk. I'm trying to see what's the best layout. Can y'all see this? Okay. Yeah, y'all can see it? Okay, cool. So let's do this one. Thoughts and proposals. So we ain't saying anything in here in regards to those who are engaged or want to be engaged. Thoughts and proposals, do's and don'ts. This was a popular post in our group that Jimmy posted in November. If a man proposed to a girl and she says no, is the relationship over? We're not talking about that, but I just thought this was a fun image to pop up here. What are your thoughts on proposals? Are there any do's and don'ts you would throw out to our community? Do's and don'ts on proposals, popcorn
Do,
style. Anybody?
do have a conversation with her before proposing. Do not propose because you feel like it's going well and you think it's the right time. This is typically why says no, because you did not talk to her about it first. So I think you should have a really good idea that she will say yes if you decide to ask her to marry you. So talk about it first.
Yep, that's the greatest tip. Be sure before you do it, bro. Save yourself the heartache.
Okay. This one is, are you a good listener? This would just throw out to the room real quick. How have you learned to listen better in your relationship journey? Because this is saying the first duty to love is to listen. This was also posted by our bouncer, Jimmy, in October. The first duty of love is to listen. Anybody want to say anything in regards to your listening? I can go first, actually. Am I a good listener? I thought I was. And then I got married, y'all, and I'm not as good as I thought. I like to talk more than I like to listen, but it is one of those disciplines that you never graduate from. There's no, gown and cap coming for listening and communication. As long as you are in a relationship, I'm learning you will have to better your listening and communication skills. Anybody else want to say anything about that one?
I learned my spouse speaks a total different language than me. That's why I give so many listening communication tips. Most time you're not even speaking the same language. So I've learned how to listen, one, without be completely open to what they might be saying, and don't ever think your spouse is out to get you. No, you're on the same side. Put your fences down first.
Whenever I get a
Good.
spouse, I'm just gonna call Tia if it get messed up. The communication master.
Just
I,
apologize, Jimmy. Just say
hey,
you're sorry.
right. I'm just gonna
Just
say,
say you're
okay, I'm
sorry.
sorry, but Tia, I think I messed up. No, I think listening is hearing with comprehension. That's what I'll say.
Good deal. I'll start with this one, I think. Let me see. No, we're going to start with this one. This was posted by Jamia. I think I'm saying her name correctly. And it had me cracking up. I said, we're going to end with this one. So in the graphic, it says, me watching my partner leave toast crumbs on the counter after I've just cleaned the kitchen. So my question to you, Real Talk team, is how petty are you really? Like, we don't want to talk about our pettiness. We don't want nobody to know. But how petty are you when it comes to things with you and your spouse or you and your companion? Are you petty? Go ahead and tell the truth and shame the devil. Anybody want to put themselves out there?
I'm petty, Betty. Yeah. Petty.
I put my feet up too if I could bend that way.
I got a petty way or two, one or two.
One or two. I don't think I'm super petty, but I definitely have my days, my moments.
I got one or two little things that I'm petty.
I think being petty keeps it spicy. It keeps it spicy. Be petty.
Be petty.
Be petty. Leave our food out the refrigerator on purpose. You'll be all right.
You want an argument every week, then? Don't
Yeah, a
you?
little
You
argument
like
ain't hurt nobody.
You like arguing.
Yeah,
Oh,
keep the fire going.
oh my God. Oh my God. Well, I'm gonna stop sharing on that. That was a lot of fun. I want to say thank you to each of you again for being a part of Marriage and Real Talk. Y'all have made 2021 what it is. Again, for those who are in the group, thank you for being a part of Marriage and Real Talk community. We definitely have some good things coming up. Haven't really had time to stop and have a powwow with the huddle, as well as there's some new people that may be joining our team. But in 2022, I'll end with this last question. What would you all like to see? And those of you who are watching live in Facebook or otherwise, please drop your comments because we're going to come back and take a look at those. What would you like to see Marriage and Real Talk do more of? What are your favorite things that we already do? Like, just give us some feedback. We're at the end of the year, and we want your feedback so we can continue to grow and make this resource in this community all that it can be. But I'll throw this question to each of y'all. I want to hear from each person. What do you like most about Marriage and Real Talk now? And any thoughts on things you would like to see in 2022? And I'll just go in order. So, Jimmy, what do you like most about Marriage and Real Talk right now?
It's the topics. People being real. People are very honest, what I mean, about their opinions, what they put out there. So, yeah, the camaraderie is great. I believe we have a really good connection, a good chemistry of people.
What would you like to see us do more of in 2022 or
More
something new?
I would like to encourage the members to post more. Just more interaction from the members.
Okay.
Encouraging them to put up their post. Yeah.
Yes, engagement. He's saying, bring it, y'all. Love it. Kamisha, over to you. What do you like most about Real Talk right now, and what would you like to see more of in 2022?
I love the content. I think my favorite was the young lady that came on and spoke about just healing from breakups. I don't remember her name. Amber, do you know her name? Because if anybody missed that,
Yeah,
please,
knows her name.
Yes, Brittany. Yes, please go back and rewatch that. That was very, very good. So we have had some wonderful people on, and I just love the people that we have on, what they give out. So that's what I really, really do like. What I would like to see more of, I would like to see more of people that have overcome like divorce, overcome that gray area of it being great and it being not so great. Just really tackling that middle area, because I'm sure either people are dealing with that now of choosing to walk out or stick with it or whatever. And I just feel like it just needs to be a little bit more realness with that portion of marriage and sticking with it, or people that have let it go.
Awesome. And that's good feedback. We definitely want some more divorcees and those who are in that gray. It's kind of hard though, because it's such an intimate topic, and yeah, but thank you. We'll work on that. Tiffany, over to you. Same question.
I really like when we do have like the more engaging posts, I like the transparency, like from the members and even from us. I think it really helps for people to kind of see, that they're not alone. So I do love the fact that a lot of people are transparent on our platform. They feel safe enough to be transparent.
Yeah.
What I'd like to see more of, just more of a male presence.
Yeah.
I think, not enough men in the group are speaking up or sharing their thoughts. I love that, Jimmy is our bouncer and he holds it down, but Jimmy's not the group. So it would be nice to see more men just speaking up and sharing, their perspective and their thoughts, because it's important. We need to hear.
Yes. Definitely agree. And we working on it. Thank you, sis. Shelby, over to you.
I just like the camaraderie of the group. There's not a lot, just a drama. There can be a lot of drama in some of these Facebook groups, but we don't see that. There's a level of respect that we have for one another, even in allowing the transparency, of the posting and the questions to come forth. So I love that about the group. And again, just what Tiffany said, just more male engagement. Also, for those that would like to consider being a part of the prayer team, we want to open up opportunities, for others to come and to partner with us as well.
Yes. Love it. Agreed. Totally. Stacey, same questions for you.
I really love the insights and people sharing their experiences because and there was a post the other day, I think that Tia posted it, whether, we should aspire to be like other couples. And, I had got my fingers typing and I was like, and I pulled back and what I thought about was the question and my response would not have been what I was getting ready to type because I had to rethink it. But what I love about this group is the idea that we're not aspiring to be like other couples. However, our lives are a living epistle. So we share. That's the reason we have the group, to encourage one another, to share our experiences, our challenges, our triumphs. And we don't have to act like everything's all together in our marriages. There are good marriages, there are bad marriages, there are marriages that are working things out, working things through. There are marriages that may be struggling, but we all feel that we can come to this place and get support. So that's what I love about marriage, the real talk. And then I was going to say prayer as well, but also just some times of fun. We need like a newlywed game or a old school married couples game or something that engages us, in a fun way, so that we can talk about marriage in some other ways, because sometimes it may feel heavy or may feel intense.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you. T, over to you.
Oh, I love the humor. I'm usually the one who tries to post the things that keep people laughing because I think you just some things you gotta laugh to keep from crying sometimes. And I think that marriage is like 70% of those little petty moments that you got to learn how to laugh off. So I try to make light of things that are probably really irritating in the moment. So I love the humor. I love that everyone is willing to laugh along with me and discuss some of these things, and we could still find ways to engage and discuss some of these topics. But I would really love to see just a lot more engagement also in some of the live videos that we see go on a month-to-month basis. If there's more involvement there, I think it would encourage more topics, and we glean from your comments the things that you say to create that content to make sure that it's helpful. So if there's any insights, if you can just pop in, leave a comment, even if you can watch the first 5 minutes and say something that would encourage us to create more, that would be more inspiring for, I think, the admins of the group.
Ditto, ditto, ditto. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you for bringing the humor. He's the bouncer, and she is the comedian of the group. Mom, you. Last but not least, same questions for you. What do you like
Okay.
most, and what would you like to see?
What I like most about the group, well, there's a lot of things that I love. first and foremost is Amber being the front runner, and I'm so proud of her, my baby girl. I'm so proud of her. She does such a great job, and all to the glory of God. She never does it to be seen or anything. It's not about her. It's all because we all are here because we only want to be a help. We only want to be a help for people who are coming up behind us, for people who are striving to get married, stay married, whatever the case, you know. So it's just an honor to be a part of this group because I love the fact that we care. We care enough to make ourselves available when Amber asks, or the things that Tia does, the things that Jimmy does, the prayer that the ladies bring forth, everything, everybody coming together just to be a part because we care and we want to help. So it's an honor to be a part of it. And, you know, just like Stacy just said, there's so many great things about this group. You know, it's an honor to be a part, and I'm proud to be a part of it, you know. So I would say for next year for me, I would want to be take more of a vital part in the group, and also to see more men come forward,
Yes.
and maybe more
Mm.
couples, married
Yes.
couples, you know. So that I think that would be fun. And like Stacy said, maybe games and different things, which me and Amber and some of us had talked about those things before. So maybe I can help be more of a part of that now that I'm retired. And I
Yes,
have
she
more time
is.
on my hand now, so
Yes.
maybe I can, you know, help with those kind of things more. But it's indeed an honor to be a part of this group. You guys are great. You guys are absolutely great. You give some of the best advice for married, single, everything. So it's honor to be a part.
Oh, warm and fuzzy. Um, Thank you, thank you, thank you. I did take note of some of the things we want to see. I will end with my thoughts. What I love about Marriage of Real Talk is just the quality of people we have here. You know, we've all been in groups and work teams and different things. We kind of like, ugh, kind of wish we could mix it up. But we have quality here, not only on the team, but just in the group. We really do care. The heart is here. And as y'all know, my whole heart is that it has a family vibe. And I feel that. I think other people feel it too. I love that aspect of it. And I love that. And I think Jimmy had said this a while back in one of our team chats is that the level of transparency is growing. You know, normally things that you probably wouldn't say or see in a public group, people feel comfortable enough to share that here. And I don't take that lightly. I think we have done a great job with kind of safeguarding different things. What I'd like to see in 2022 is our first event, live event. So that is something that I would love to see happen in the first quarter of the year. Have various thoughts, including a game show. Y'all know y'all seen me talking about Real Talk matchmakers, all that kind of fun stuff to actually get us in the same space, having fun, having some food, having just a good time. So I would like to see a live event, our first live event. And outside of that, everything y'all just said, we need some more men in the group, more men, more engagement. And I think those would be my top three. So I'll stop there. But it's getting a little bit late. So I want to pause here and just say thank you, thank you, thank you again to all of you team members, as well as everyone in Marriage of Real Talk group. This year we did hit over that 100K in the community. A goal for another quick goal for 2022 is to have a separate website and other things that we can funnel into outside of the Facebook world in case people want to be a part that don't want to be on social media, because I get that often too. So, but without further ado, I'll just go ahead and close out with a really quick prayer for all of us, and then we'll close up. So, Father, we thank you, we bless you for today. We thank you for the opportunity to have Marriage of Real Talk. We thank you for this platform. We thank you for all you have done. We thank you that everything we have, it belongs to you. So even with this group, with our relationship journeys, with our experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, Lord, we acknowledge you. We thank you for this safe place, so to speak, this place where we can come, learn, share, grow, connect in community. Lord, I pray that every person, whether they are active in the group or not active in the group, that you will bless their family, whether they believe the same things or have different differences or whatever the different nuances may be in our lives of personalities and cultures and so on and so forth, Lord, that you would just bless every single person connected to Marriage of Real Talk. We ask, God, that as we go into a new year, God, we will make sure that we are in alignment with your will and your word. But we know that you will direct our path as we continue to acknowledge you and to invite you into our hearts to walk out this thing called relationships, whether we are single, married, divorced, widowed, or separated. You are with us. So, God, I ask that you would govern our hearts, that you would give us the grace and the strength to be parents, to be spouses, oh God, and even for those of us to be single, to be content in the blessing of singleness. I thank you, God, that you have given us grace and the ability to do all that you are calling us to do. And I pray, God, that you will receive glory in and through each of our lives, now and forever. In Jesus' name, I pray.
Jesus'
Amen.
name. Amen.
I love y'all. We're signing off. Thanks to everybody who watched.
Yeah.
Have a great day and Happy New Year if we don't see y'all.
You
Happy
too.
New
Love
Year.
you. Love y'all.
Bye.